Hi guys, Shemo Polot here. Welcome back to the channel. This week I want to show you how to use Google Drive. It's one of the most useful software in my life, mostly because it's free. Well, at least 15 gigs of it is free. I'm going to show you a bunch of tips or tricks you can use to manage information in your Google Drive. Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, how do you find your Google Drive account? If you have a Gmail account, then you have a free Google Drive account, okay? So what you would do is you go inside your Gmail and you just click these little dots in the corner, top right corner, and you go and you click Drive, and that will open up your Google Drive. The way I organize my folders is I always put them in 3 categories: working, business, and personal. You can choose to replicate that if you want. But the working folder is where I put all the stuff that I'm doing, like right now. I get a project and I want to work on something, I put it in that working folder. Whenever I'm done working on it there, then I move it to where it actually belongs, which is probably somewhere in business or somewhere in personal. The business is, like I said, for business. All my side hustles, everything I'm trying to do. Personal is all the family stuff and all the personal stuff, all my CVs and resumes and ideas to take over the world. Everything goes inside personal. Okay, first thing for the drive is you can search the Google Drive directly from your browser, or you can search it within the Google Drive interface. So first I want to show you how to search it directly from your browser without having to go to Google Drive. So Control T, I'm using Chrome by the way, but this works for Microsoft Edge, Opera, most of the browsers that you use. Okay, so I have it set up already. I'm just going to show you how to do it if you haven't already. But so I just type Drive and then I press Tab, and as you can see in my browser, it's already doing search Google Drive, so then I can search any document that I want. This sometimes is set up by default, especially in Chrome, but if it's not, or if you're using a different browser, then all you have to do is go to your settings here in the corner. Go to settings, go to search engine, manage search engines and site, and site search right there. So if you don't have it there, what you would do is add it. Okay, so mine's already here. I have one set up for Google Drive and for YouTube as well. So you would add it, and then in the search engine box you would put Google Drive. Shortcut, you would write Drive. You could also just write a letter D or whatever letter that makes sense to you, and then in this box you would enter this URL. I will put a link to that URL in the description of this video just so you can access it really quickly. But yeah, and then at which point you would click save, and then you'll be able to do that. So you can do the same for YouTube video search and searching Amazon as well if you want to spend a lot of money. But yeah, otherwise close that out. The next thing, if you want to search for a specific video within your Google Drive, maybe you don't really know what the video was called, but you know what format it was in and who it came from. Okay, so in the search drive you can use type, semicolon, and you can do doc. Okay, and then owner, you can put the name of the person who you think owns the video, or you can do yourself if, well, you're the one that owns it. Okay, and then once you do type, and let me do PDF. Okay, so you do type in PDF, and then a bunch of PDF documents show up there, which makes it a lot easier for you to find them. Okay, but yeah, so I'm just going to go back here. Okay, so the other thing that is really useful for using Google Drive is to turn on offline sync, which allows you to update your documents offline. So you can edit your documents offline, maybe if you're getting on a flight, if you're traveling up country and there's no internet. So you just come to settings and you go to general, and then offline right here, you just check that box, and that will allow you again to work on your documents offline. And then whenever you get an internet connection, the documents will update automatically. Okay, really useful. You should do that if you're not doing it. The other thing about using Google Drive is I love shortcuts, man. I have to talk about shortcuts. If you hold Shift and question mark, the list of shortcuts in Google Drive will appear here, and you can see select down item, and there's so many of them. but I just wanted to show you the ones that I use the most, okay? If you press GN on the keyboard, it will take you to the left panel, which allows you to navigate those folders on the left. I usually use that when I need to go to probably the starred items when I'm coming out of somewhere else. Let's go back to my drive, okay? Then hold down Shift and T. Shift T will open a Google Doc. Just going to close that. Shift S will open a Google Sheet. And Shift F will open a new folder. And those are the ones I use a lot of, so I'm just sharing those with you. If you want to share a folder or share a file, if you're scrolling with just the arrows on your keyboard, when you settle on the one you want, so you can preview files by pressing P. So let me see if I can find a file to illustrate this. Okay, so this file, if I do P, then so it will pop up so it can show briefly what that file looks like. Okay, let me do GN again to go back to my drive. Okay, if you want to rename a folder, again, you can navigate to it and then just press N and you can rename it that way. Quick pro tip, if you want the folder to move up or down in order, then put a number in front of it like I do here with 4, 1, 2, and 3. So that's how I determine what order they look like. Shift and a period will allow you to share that file or folder with really anyone that you want to. And yeah, those are the main ones that I use. Or to delete, you select the document that you want and you press Shift and the pound key. That'll delete the file. Control A does the same thing that it does almost everywhere else on your computers, which is select everything. Yeah, I think those are the main shortcuts. Now, the other thing that you absolutely need to use with Google Drive is Google Drive for desktop if you aren't. And that you go up to the settings gear on the top right corner and click Get Drive for Desktop. And what that does is it will sync all the local files on your computer to your Google Drive. So depending on which setting you choose, either stream or mirror, I almost always suggest that you pick stream, and I can make a separate video about this, but I just want to say really briefly. If you pick stream, what it will do is it will take all the local files on your computer and it will move them to Google Drive and they'll remain in the cloud. So like personally, I don't have any hard files on my laptop. Everything is on the Google Drive. Okay, and what makes it really cool is that if you take a look at your file manager here, there'll be a folder for Google Drive which looks identical to your actual Google Drive online. These folders look identical, and it's really cool because any changes that you make in here will reflect online. Okay, it's really fantastic. One, it'll save you a lot of space on your computer if you're struggling with space on your laptop. The challenge obviously is that depending on how many files you have, then you will also increase your space on your Google Drive. And remember that you only have 50 gigs to work with before you have to pay for extra space. So that's something to worry about. But I always recommend digital cleanses, where every now and then you just go and delete a bunch of useless files that you have that you don't really use. I suggest that you do that. That's one way to sort of control how much information that you have. But absolutely, I highly recommend Google Drive for desktop. It will make your life so much easier. And it will also allow you to access files remotely wherever you go with your laptop. I think that's it. I think I have about covered the basics. So obviously, you should know how to move files up and down, and you can move folders and put them inside folders by just clicking and dragging and dropping. Google Drive doesn't do a good job of enabling you to move folders from one place to another. You often have to click one, right click, then go to move to. However, the beautiful thing is that if you have Google Drive for desktop, then it's a lot easier to do that in this interface, because here you can cut and paste, copy and paste, and things like that. So again, another reason why you should use Google Drive for desktop. Google Drive is most useful if you are very organized about how you do your file management. Again, I do working, business, personal, and again, there are subfolders within those. I'll just give you an example. So in personal, so I have career development, I have content creation, I have data, I have family documents, I have letters, and project management. And then I have subfolders within those if it makes sense, and I have all the different sheets or documents or PowerPoint presentations, all those within the subfolders, labeled correctly depending on where it makes sense. So if you don't have a file management system, I suggest you try mine for free. But yeah, otherwise, that is a crash course on how you can use Google Drive to be more efficient with your file management and just to change your life. Also, again, one last thing before I go. If you don't want to use the shortcuts for creating new documents in Google Drive, that's Shift-T for a Google Doc and Shift-S for a Google Sheet and Shift-F to open a new folder. Another thing that you can do within your browser is if you open a new window in your browser and type doc.new, Google will automatically open a new Google document. If you type sheet.new, same thing, as you can see, Google Sheet. If you type form.new, a new Google form will be created. If you type slide.new, a new Google slide will be created. Okay, so those are really quick shortcuts for you to create those documents really quickly. One last pro tip before I go: if you have a PDF document, and let me just do what I did before again, where I find a random PDF. Okay, and so if you have a PDF document, and I want to find a good one that isn't like going to give away too much information in my life, let me try this Excel one. Okay, so if you have a PDF, and you know PDFs are really hard to copy and paste, sometimes they come in and jumble all formats, you can extract the text from a PDF by just clicking on the PDF, right clicking and opening with a Google Doc. When you open it in the Google Doc, what Google will do automatically is extract the text from the PDF and spit it out into the Google document. That's what's happening right now. It's taking a bit long because of my internet, but that's a really cool trick for extracting text from PDFs. And just a little hack, which I think I've shared on my Instagram before, is Google Keep. But if I just do note.new, Google Keep is able to extract text from images. So if you have, for example, I have this picture, this image of shortcuts that I use in my Gmail. And so what you can do is come here and click grab image text, and just like that, all the text appears right there. Just going to click that because I don't need that. Close that browser, and as you can see, our document is opened, and so all this is now editable, as you can see. This is a PDF that I got from ExcelJet, a really cool company for doing a bunch of cool Excel videos. And yeah, you can copy and paste anything you want and pass it as your own. Don't plagiarize without credit. But yeah, otherwise, that is enough for this video. Google Drive is essential for everyone, any professional and really anyone that's trying to keep a bunch of information on the internet. So I suggest you learn how to use it and learn how to use it efficiently. Otherwise, that's Shemo Polot here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.